Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's South Stretford Post. Welcome to Breaking Dawn. I hope everyone's doing fine. Everyone's doing good on this match day, Sunday, of course, guys, where we play Leicester City tonight in what is a relatively, unimportant game, some are saying. I mean, I beg to differ. I think that, every game is important. I think it's very important that United get some momentum. Get some morale boosting, positivity going on, and maybe score some goals. Who knows? We can score some goals, and maybe bring that into the Europa League stages against Lyon, of course, guys, because that is obviously our biggest priority right now, is to win the Europa League this season, of course. So, United against Leicester. You know what? I've been watching Leicester quite a few times over the last few weeks, and I think that Man United should really put them to the sword. I do believe that they will. Even though we have nothing to play for, that's the only concern that I would have, is that the fact that we may take this game lightly because we have nothing to play for, and we're waiting on the Europa League. But hopefully they see it the way I see it. They see it the way that they can build momentum, get a morale boosting win, of course, guys. And you know what, that would be great. Maybe score some goals. 4 or 5 goals, as some of you were saying yesterday. 5 goals we're going to score. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind scoring a few goals, of course, guys. It would be very, very refreshing and new, of course, for Man United, guys. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Please don't forget to smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you guys can do that for me, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone who has joined me this morning, of course, or afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the world, guys. Absolutely. There are people watching from all corners of the world, of course, on Stretford Post, guys. Absolutely. But you know what? The bearing development over the last weekend has been the interview with Jim Ratcliffe, the horrible interview. I would say it's a horrible interview. I think he actually shot himself in the foot somewhat, so to speak, in regards to what he said. I mean, he basically exposed himself in every single way, in regards to, does he really love Man United like he says he does? For example, he says, I don't really know why I purchased a football club, which is, quite damning. You should really know when you purchase a football club that you supposedly love and you support in your whole life, how can you not be clueless to what, why you purchased it? It should roll off the tongue. You should know automatically. It's ridiculous what he said, but you know what? I've been digesting everything. Of course, guys, I've been thinking about everything what's been going on in regards to him. And to be honest, guys, you know what? It is no surprise to me. I'll be honest with you. It's no surprise to me. This is Jim Ratcliffe. This is what he does. And you know what? I don't have any, he's on fraud watch, guys. He is on fraud watch. And to be honest with you, I'm not really, to be honest, thinking about, anything positive to do with him, because when you think about positivity and you think about, confidence in this person, I don't believe I have any confidence in this person, because, I've been raised with Man United supporters my whole life. I've seen many Man United supporters, and he just doesn't come across as one. He's lied about that. And when you lie about things, especially something of that magnitude, it does sort of expose you in one way. It exposes you, and it makes you look like an absolute fraud, doesn't it? At the end of the day, he was throwing his rattles out of his pram, so to speak, yesterday, of course, talking about it's not fair. But the biggest annoyance for me was the fact that he was showing so much sympathy to the Glazers. He was showing so much love to the Glazers. It's almost obnoxiously showing this amount of love to the Glazers, and I don't think that any man who supposedly supports Man United show that amount. Look, guys, I get it. You can't slander your owners. You can't slander people you need, so to speak. You can't speak badly about people you need. We know that. I know that. I'm not stupid. But one thing you don't do is you don't become overly zealous. You don't become overly complimentary to these people who have torn down this football club, including Old Trafford, right? You don't. Because then it just exposes you for who you really are. That they are your billionaire friends, your mates, and you know what? You align yourself with our enemy. That is it. And this is something that we pointed out many, many months ago about aligning yourself with enemies. And unfortunately, there was a section of the fan base who have aligned themselves, and they're still doing it. They're still making excuses for him. At the end of the day, they're still doing the same thing, making excuses, saying that, give him a chance, give old Jim a chance. You know, it's ridiculous. Good morning, Baz. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Many Man United channels are spreading that Qatar bid wasn't real. They just casually mention it. Almac, you know what? Many who, you know, because United Stand don't mention it. They don't say that because it was real, Almac. And at the end of the day, you know, billionaires will twist anything that they want to twist. And all you need is a bit of this, a bit of backhanding. You can send bribes to the likes of Bloomberg and things like that, and tell them that, listen, we want you to push this story. Journalists as well, they can push a story. You can fit any story to fit your narrative. You can create a story to fit your narrative. If you've got the money, you can make a story to fit your narrative. You can make someone be hated. You can make someone look like a liar. You can make someone look fantastic and great. You know what I mean? Even though they're not. That's what you can do. Unfortunately, you know, I think that is what's happened here. Chow, what's going on? I don't believe one single word's come from his mouth, the Jim. There are absolutely, I don't either. I mean, you know, there are many things he said. And look, I wanna bring in some more quotes, because I mentioned some quotes yesterday. That, you know, a few quotes. I mean, to be honest with you, I was annoyed when I read the quotes. I wasn't really, you know what, really willing to read the quotes, because I knew it'd be a load of garbage. And you know what? Lo and behold, it was a load of garbage, to be honest with you. And it did really kind of upset me when I read the quotes and stuff like that. I thought, this guy is an absolute, you know, liar and a fraud, to be honest with you. And I couldn't really read it all. Big up, Baz. Got all good, feeling positive for the SMPU. Absolutely. For you, it's 7 p.m. Baz, but for me, it is 11 p.m. kickoff for me tonight. Of course, guys, Leicester City at the King Power Stadium, of course, not the Walkers Stadium, as I said yesterday. It is the King Power Stadium, Leicester City. Ruud van Nistelrooy, you know what? One of my favorite players of all time, the manager of manager of Leicester City, great player at Manchester United. Unfortunately, didn't get the job. I don't think he's ready for the Man United job, if I'm being honest with you. You know, we had the manager bounce. Of course, we would do that with this bunch of players. They do have that little manager bounce, don't they? When they want a manager bounce, of course, guys. But sometimes, you know what I would say is that football goes and friendship don't go hand in hand when we're trying to win a game. And I know that Leicester need the 3 points. We need the 3 points because we need to build up our morale and stuff. It doesn't look like Leicester are going to survive in the Premier League, if I'm being honest with you. It looks like they're going to get relegated. They're conceding goals left, right, and centre. They're not really keeping clean sheets. They're not really doing well, to be honest with you guys. But you know what? Look, man, I just hope that Man United win the game. I think Man United need a win in the Premier League. I think we need to move up that table, try and push ourselves up into the first half of the table, the top half of the table, try and push ourselves up there, because being down there in the doldrums doesn't really bode well. It doesn't really add to confidence and things like that, does it, at the end of the day? Good morning, Sanjay. How you doing? 29 likes. What can we get today? Can we get 40 likes? Thank you so much. Big up, Kenny. What's going on, my friend? I saw Jim Ratcliffe during the Melbourne FC video. I'm just fuming. I mean, this guy, Kenny, yeah, I watched the video, Kenny, and this guy, right, is supposedly supposed to be looking after Man United's penny pinching and stuff like that, and you see him at the Grand Prix like that. I mean, it's a bit like what Roy Keane said about the stadium when he said that it doesn't look good when you're building a 2 billion plus or 6 billion, whatever it is, stadium, and then you're making people on 40 grand a year redundant. It just doesn't look right, does it, at the end of the day, in my opinion? And, you know, he really is unaware of his own self. You know what I mean? I think he's one of the dumbest billionaires I've ever seen, as I said yesterday. He doesn't come across as, you know, aware mentally about or around his surroundings. Maybe it's age. I don't know. Maybe he's going a bit wahay at the end of the day. I don't know. But you know what? He doesn't really recognize the elephant in the room here, which is himself. You know, what are you talking? Like yesterday, I was like, what are you talking about, mate? Joel Glazer is a lovely guy. He's this, he's that, all this rubbish that he was being splurted yesterday. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, to be honest. I mean, you could like the Glazers. If he likes the Glazers, that's fair enough on him, right? But to be splurting it out on media, talking about it on media, was absolutely disgraceful for me. I mean, I couldn't handle it, to be honest with you. Matt Ratcliffe said that the Glazers are the best people and they are passionate about United. That's how you get offside with the fans. Mate, he didn't only get offside. He was in the car parking lot, for goodness sake. You know what I mean? And when I think about what he said yesterday, it was disrespectful. For number one, it's disrespectful. And if you pride yourself as a Man United fan, if you pride yourself on being a Man United fan for God knows 60 years, he said, you would know that the Glazers have been a thorn in our side for many, many years now, 12, 13 years. Since Alex Ferguson left, we've been terrible, right? And we've been slowly declining. For 20 years, they've been slowly stripping down the squad, including when Cristiano Ronaldo was there. We ended up building the best team in the world, and then we ended up selling Ronaldo and bringing in cheap players. And then obviously, because of Alex Ferguson, we kind of kept up there and we kept the standards. But when Alex Ferguson left, the Glazers have been more exposed. They haven't had the genius of Alex Ferguson to save them, And to be honest with you, what he said yesterday was a slap in the face of every single Manchester United fan, in my opinion. Those who've been protesting for the last 20 years. We protested at the weekend against Arsenal, and he should be aware of what's going on. And then, what concerns me is that we still get people who are supporting him, trying to save face, so to speak, trying to, you've got to give him a chance and stuff like that. Taking bits out of the interview yesterday that look semi-positive, like a little bit positive, twisting it and then putting it on their social media platforms and just saying, look, oh yeah, fire emojis and stuff like that. It makes me think that some of these guys are absolutely dumb, to be honest with you guys, really silly. And to be honest with you, I've said it at the beginning of the season. Look, Jim Ratcliffe is now 27 partial owner of Manchester United. Okay, right now what we do, we support him. Okay, we support him, and we say we see what he can do. I'm not going to get overly happy, but I'm going to see what he can do. And I praised him for some of the work that Ineos did over the summer, including the appointments of Barada and Wilcox and Vivel and stuff. And I gave credit where it was due, including the transfer window. But I am not going to be praising something that is not, praisable, sacking people, making the wrong decisions in regards to Eric Ten Hag and Ashwood, wasting millions, that could have saved a number of jobs. I'm not going to be praising that for no reason, guys. You know what I mean? I'm not Mother Teresa here. I'm not bloody Willy Wonka sugarcoating things with sugar and chocolate. Good morning, Roy Michael. How you doing, my friend? I'll be doing well. Sal has Jim Ratcliffe on more than he can chew. When you're in the public eye, you are going to get criticised no matter what. And the Jim, absolutely, he's Teddy out. Look, at the end of the day, what I would say, Roy Michael, and he put it there yesterday that, he would leave if he had the amount of abuse. I mean, bring out the violins, guys. The small little violins, you can see the violins, the little violins, right? I mean, cry me a river. Jim Ratcliffe, cry me a flipping river. I don't care about your sob stories about how unfair it is on the Glazers and how you would leave if you had the same amount of abuse. Guys, listen, the door wide open. Here you go. Don't worry, we'll close it for you. Get lost. If you cannot take the heat, the kitchen, if you cannot take the heat in the kitchen, to step out of the kitchen. You know what I mean? If you cannot have a fight in the ring, don't get in the ring at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And what I would say is that, it comes across as a crybaby, spoiled, and trying to fish for sympathy. Now, that's not going to work with us. We're not going to, sympathy is not going to work with Man United fans, right? Because at the end of the day, you've decided to facilitate the Glazers. You decided to go to bed, so to speak, with the Glazers, and you decided to save them when they were about to leave the football club, right? So you're not in any place to be talking about sympathy. And if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen, as I said, and leave. We don't care. Leave. Sell your shares to someone else and leave. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who facilitated the Glazers. You're the one who is quite obvious. Is put forward a vanity project to us. And we know it's a vanity project. Many of us can see through the ball, of course, guys. We can see through it. Baz, that ain't offside. That's a straight red card. Absolutely, Baz. Absolutely. Kenny, Sal, I was in India at the time when Dan Ashwood got sacked. I was shocked. I mean, look, guys, when you think about the amount of money that they wasted, how long we took chasing Ashwood as well. And then we got rid of him. And we know why they got rid of Ashwood. We know why. Because he didn't see eye to eye with Ineos, with any of Jim Ratcliffe crew. He didn't see eye to eye with them. Maybe, just maybe, he called them out for what they were. Who knows what's going to happen? We're never going to know of course. There's probably a disclosure on that whole thing. But you know what? He probably disagreed. Well, he did. I mean, disagree with what Ineos are trying to put forward. He probably felt that this was not what he signed up for. He probably thinks that we should have done this and we should have done that. And they disagreed with each other. And what Jim Ratcliffe did is, and what Ineos did is by sacking Ashford, exposes them for who they really were. They didn't do their research on Ashford. But regardless of what Ashford wanted, regardless what player he wanted in, what player he wanted out, they knew who he was when they were signing him. And many of us knew who Ashford was. We knew who he was. We knew that the work at Brighton that was done was not his only. It was obviously someone else, and we knew all that. And they spent the whole bloody summer chasing Ashford, of course. And you know what? It was a big mistake, and he's admitted it's a mistake. I admit people can make mistakes. That's fine. But these are big mistakes, and when you're making millions of pounds mistakes, millions, right, which can cost people jobs and stuff like that. Some people get fired for that. If you didn't have the power that you had. If you lost millions, you'll get fired for that, to be honest, for those decisions. He should have fired himself. You know what I mean? That was pure incompetence. Absolutely. Look, when you think about it, they hired him. It was their incompetence. Their incompetence. They kept Erik ten Hag. Look, I can't blame the Erik ten Hag thing too much, but what I would say is this: if they shouldn't have spent the money that they spent on Erik ten Hag, if they didn't really believe in what he was going to do. At the end of the day, look, you know what? They made a mistake with that. And I do understand that hindsight is a beautiful thing. We're all geniuses in hindsight. Of course, that is true. I agree with that. But at the end of the day, what I would say to you guys is that, you know what? These are monumental $1 million, pounds mistakes. They're not just, you know what I mean, just flipping a few thousand, just sacking me, it'll be all right, a few thousand. You know what I mean? These are proper monumental errors that they've made and that have cost the lives of many people and their jobs. Now, when I go into some more quotes from yesterday, guys, if you don't mind, if I just read some of these quotes out, just bear me a second. So Jim Ratcliffe said, I don't agree with the idea that there are ups and downs, that these things happen, because I look at Atletico Madrid, Barcelona and Bayern. They remain at the top, and that's not the case here, because the club has been managed and bad decisions have been made. No, let me tell you something, Jim Ratcliffe, and I'll tell you something very, very, because this was a quote that was doing the rounds, obviously, over the last 24 hours, that were trying to add light to this Jim Ratcliffe interview, okay? So let me tell you something about Real Madrid and at Barcelona. Real Madrid and Barcelona have both built new stadiums. Barcelona are currently building their new stadium, okay? Right? So, but they are not penny pinching. They are not sacrificing people's jobs. They're not sacking people. Real Madrid have around 4,000 people working for their football club. We have about 1,000 now. I mean, we've lost. We probably have less than that now. Barcelona have the same, and they are building a stadium, and they're still spending money. Bayern Munich, likewise, still spending money. Look, you don't get success out of being penny pinchers. You don't. Unfortunately, the greatest clubs in the world spend money. You have to spend money. You know, you don't penny pinch, and you cannot rely on a bunch of kids. You know what I mean? You cannot have a team of 16 to 19-year-olds in the team and expect to win big trophies. At the end of the day, it's not going to happen, because what's going to happen is that you could say, oh, give it 5 years. By then, we will be in the doldrums, financially broke, and then we'll have to sell some of those players. So it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make sense. You need to spend money, and you need to spend it cleverly. You know, what we've done, we spent money badly. I agree, we have spent money badly. Hindsight is a good thing. Of course, everyone's a genius in hindsight, as I've said again. You know, but at the end of the day, when you're comparing Barcelona and Real Madrid, I can tell you hundreds of reasons why they stay where they are. And everything you're doing, Jim Ratcliffe, at the moment contradicts everything that Atletico Madrid and Barcelona do, because they do things by spending money. They do things by the standard, by being the best, having the best players. Shah, big up. Monisal, whoever is still backing Ineos are simply backing the Glazers and the Glazers. I mean, what I would say to that, Shah, you're absolutely spot on. I agree with that. What I would say to that argument is that, you know what, some of those people who are still supporting Jim Ratcliffe, basically what they say is they're trying to save face. They're trying to cover up their embarrassment that they were wrong, that they backed this manager so passionately. This guy so passionately. They backed him. And what they're trying to do is save face because they were wrong. And this goes to thing that they only wanted Jim Ratcliffe because of sinister reasons. We all know why they really wanted Jim Ratcliffe. We all know why the reason was because of that. And it was not to do with football, of course, guys. Absolutely not. Big up Shah, by the way, of course. He did say about David Moyes. I like David Moyes, and I think he's a very good manager. But going from Sir Alex Ferguson to Moyes is not what I would have done. Moyes took over from Ferguson, who won the Premier League 13 times, the Champions League twice, and you hand over to a guy who has never managed great players and has never won anything. A club can't always get it right, but they should have found the best chief executive in the world and best manager in the world, because Manchester United is the best club in the world. Instead, they got both decisions wrong. Now, this is very rich coming from Jim Ratcliffe, of course. Very, very rich, considering he's got so many things wrong in his short tenure as Manchester United part owner. He has, obviously made mistakes with Eric Ten Hag. He's made mistakes with Dan Ashwood. He's made mistakes with some signings already, right? He's made mistakes. So I think it's very, very rich for him to come out with this statement at the end of the day. I would have loved to know who we would have got. Now, we all know as Man United fans, it is obviously very, very, very well known that Manchester United did not think that David Moyes was the right guy for the club. He wasn't. I said it at the time. I didn't think he is a good enough manager. He hasn't managed big players before, and he hasn't been faced with winners like Man United were. They had like Rio Ferdinand, Emmanuel Vidic, Robin van Persie. People have won the Champions League. People have won endless titles, of course, guys. He had, at the end of the day. And I would say that, we know that, Jim. You don't need to talk about what happened with David Moyes. It's been done. Just concentrate on what you need to do, and then let's see what happens, of course. We all know what was pretty obvious. David Moyes sympathizers. Oh, my God. David Moyes sympathizers. My goodness me. David Moyes, look, I used to know a Liverpool fan at my old job, and he used to say that he used to love David Moyes. For some reason, he said that you treated David Moyes badly, you've done this, you've done that. I know so many stories, and you know what they say, there's no smoke without fire. I know so many stories about David Moyes that, will blow your mind about how he tried to force himself on the players. What you're talking about there is a bunch of serial winners in that squad. Ryan Giggs was still there. Vidic, and I said Ferdinand. I said it there. They were still there. Michael Carrick, Robin van Persie, those players, Rooney, they were still at the football club. And then he's going into the dressing room and playing tapes of Everton and saying you should defend like that and stuff like that. And the story is that he showed these tapes to the Man United team, serial winners, of course, and he started showing the tapes of Phil Jagielka, who's an Everton player back then, and he started showing them. And he said, "This is how you should defend." So I'm not sure what player said it, but he said, "Yeah, but what have they won?" And then another player said, "David, what have you won?" And then that obviously ruined the relationship between the players and the manager, and the respect just went away at the end of the day. We know what should have happened. We know Man United at the time should have got Jurgen Klopp, should have got Pep Guardiola, should have got even Jose Mourinho, should have got him back then, but they didn't. And that was the past. But why is Jim Ratcliffe talking about what happened in the past? What is it to do with him at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, he needs to look after his own house. He needs to make his own bed. Because look, what he's done so far, he's made lots of mistakes so far. And it's very easy to talk about other people, of course. Big up, GK. Is Amazon interested in buying Man United? Amazon have always been interested in buying Manchester United, but Amazon don't want to pay the fee that Man United are asking for at the moment. And the Glazers are unwilling to sell now. And the Glazers do not want to sell Manchester United. So what we have to do is a little bit like divide and conquer. So Ineos have to leave. If Ineos left, it will leave the Glazers in a bit of a mess because they're relying on the Glazers to work out this regeneration project. The Glazers have no clue at the end of the day. So if the Ineos did leave, it would leave the Glazers where they were, back to square one, right? So they would have to sell up their shares. So there's a lot that can happen. Lots of noises going around Man United, whether it was Apple, whether it's Amazon, whether it was Elon Musk. There was rumors that Elon Musk wants to buy Liverpool this morning, of course. Right? I would rather keep Americans, no disrespect, away from English football teams. I would say that because I don't think they quite understand about the heritage of English football and football in general. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. So I would rather keep them away. Amazon, I don't know about Amazon, how good they would be at owning a football club. Do you know what I mean? This is another risk that could happen, at the end of the day. Chelsea have got lucky. I think Chelsea, with their owner, Todd Bowley, you know what? Whenever they need someone, they've already bought 2 players. They bought that player from Sporting Lisbon. They bought 2 players from Sporting Lisbon, didn't they? At the end of the day, Suga, something like that. And obviously, Quenda. So, one thing you could say about Todd Bowley is that we've been unlucky, you know what I mean, in regards to, because he goes out and he actually spends money. When Chelsea need money, when need players, he goes out and buys them. Ratcliffe said that they had to hand over the management of Nice FC to satisfy UEFA. Nice has had the best season without Ineos running the club. Absolutely. Ain't Nice third in the league, Almac? Are they not third in the league? And when you think about that, what Jim Ratcliffe said about Nice yesterday, it goes to show you the disrespect and disregard he has for professional football teams. He said that they are not good, they're boring, the quality is not there. When you buy a football club from a certain country, you're supposed to be a spokesman for that country. Look at David Beckham, for example, right? David Beckham bought Inter Miami. He created Inter Miami. He made Inter Miami. And he is basically the face of, obviously, American soccer or football, as we know. He is the face of the American League, and he actually promotes it. He's a PR person to it. Right, whether you think it's quality or it's a rubbish league or whatever, that's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is, he would not slander that league because he owns a football club in that league. Now, Jim Ratcliffe, he's just shown how classless he is by actually talking about Nice in those sort of terms, in that sort of way, which was, in my view, ridiculous and disrespectful. Ashar, why is Jim Ratcliffe talking about David Moyes? Absolutely. And you know what? This is what I'm talking about. It's like a stick to beat someone with when you're not there to defend yourself. At the end of the day, it just shows you what sort of person he is. I'll be honest with you guys. He comes across as the dumbest billionaire I've ever seen, and he comes across as classless, in my opinion. For as a billionaire to be classless, do you know what I mean? Like that, and to be talking about things that happened then, it's very easy to talk like that. But then we can bring in the mistakes that he's done. He's done the mistakes so far. He's done, well, we could talk about Eric Ten Hag. We could talk about Dan Ashford, of course. You know what I mean? And he's single-handedly losing whatever support he had himself. We don't even need to say anything. All the fans are starting to turn on him, and if people are not turning on him, that means that they are actually supporting him for sinister reason. He also said about Alex Ferguson, guys. The first thing Alex Ferguson said to me was the shirt can be too heavy. It's what I've been saying for a long time. It applies to everyone here, really. The coach, the players, the owners. It's turning me into an old man. You are an old man, Jim Ratcliffe. You're 77. It's hard to do the interviews, one cock up, and you're a legendary for it. Well, you cocked up on this interview, Mr. Jim Ratcliffe, because at the end of the day, you said a lot of rubbish, you spoke a lot of smack, obviously, to the media. And you're being exposed yesterday. There was a lot of rubbish you said yesterday. And you know what? Anyone with their head screwed on would read between the lines and know that you are not a Man United fan, mate. You're not a Man United fan. I mean, if you have to think about why you purchased Man United. Look, if I had the money, number one, if I couldn't afford Man United, if I couldn't afford to get the Glazers out, but I can only afford 30% of the club, I wouldn't buy the club. I would let the Qatar buy the club. I would let someone else buy the club. That's what I would do. Look, like the rumors about Qatar, it's just to add weight to their narrative. That's all it's doing. It's just to add weight to them. I live in the Middle East. I know about Qatar. I know about them. They have the best airline in the world. They have the best infrastructure in the world, the best hotels in the world, the best living lifestyle in the world, the best safety record in the world. Everything about where in this side of the world is better. So at the end of the day, why wouldn't they be able to afford Man United? Money's nothing to them. They're talking about that just to add weight to their story, which is absolutely rebunked anyway, to be honest with you. Kenny, Ratcliffe he's playing the sympathy card. I mean, one thing is like trying to get sympathy for yourself, right? Cry me a river and all that. Trying to get sympathy for yourself, but also trying to force the fans to feel sorry for the Glazers. I mean, and that itself is criminal for me. That itself is ridiculous. It's a crime for me. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, GK, Bowley knows how to splash the cast. Roman was better. I agree, GK. Absolutely spot on. Roman Abramovich was the best owner in football. Yeah, apart from Mr. Edwards back in the 90s, but yeah, Alex Ferguson, right? But I would say that Roman Abramovich was the best owner in football, and Chelsea lost a lot because he was smart. He was smart. He knew who to buy, when to buy, and he was ruthless as well. Very, very ruthless. He probably would have sacked Maresca by now. He was that ruthless, but he knew what to do. And when you look at the way when he came into Chelsea, Chelsea were a mid-table team. They were a cup team. And when he came in, he turned them into a great Premier League team. He turned into a good team. And to be honest with you, what the government did with Abramovich, I feel myself was out of order. They talk a lot about bringing politics into football. Why did they sack Abramovich then? Do you know what I mean? He had nothing to do with what was going on over there. But then you think about this. Why can't they get rid of the Glazers? Why can't the government get rid of the Glazers? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, retrospectively, because at the end of the day, what the Glazers did back then, right now, it's illegal. You can't buy a club like that. You can't get a loan, right? All right, to buy a football club and then use the football club to pay the loan. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and then not pay capital on that loan. You know, it beggars belief, to be honest with you. It just shows you where the government is because, you know what? Oh, the Glazers are our friends. They're the Americans. They're our friends. They're the Yanks. You know, they're our friends. You know what? So we got to keep them there, even though they're destroying one of the best football teams, best sporting institutions in world football, and basically probably done so much for the UK economy as well. Shah, he could say the same thing about Man United in a few years' time. What he said about me, absolutely, Shah. You know, I mean, leopards don't change their spots. As I said, he can. At the end of the day, if things go pear-shaped for Jim Ratcliffe over this next few years, which I think it probably will, then you know what, he's going to turn around and say, but this person, that, but, and he's not, he seems to me the sort of person who doesn't take accountability, right? I would turn around to him to say, look, Jim, how comes you were 6th and 7th in the French league, right? When the French league is easy, supposedly, and you got teams like Lyon and Lille doing better than you. So how does that make sense, Jim? How does that make sense? And then how do you expect to get a team like Man United, who've been run down to the ground by the Glazers, who you facilitated, to get to the level that they were in the Premier League, if you cannot even do nothing for Nice, a French team, in a very weak league? I'd like to see his answer to that. UK Darren, everyone wants the Glazers out, but if Ineos out, it would lose Amarim. We would lose Amarim. At the end of the day, Darren, big up, Darren. How you doing? At the end of the day, if we lose the Ineos, a lot can happen. There could be a lot of rebound effects that could happen because obviously the infrastructure, the regeneration of the area of Manchester and stuff, that could be up in the air because nothing's been confirmed yet. Nothing's been signed. So at the end of the day, what I would say, it depends what happens, who comes in. Amber might stay, but it depends who comes in, Darren. It depends who comes into the football club, who the shares are sold by at the end of the day. But would you sacrifice losing Ruben Amorim if it meant the Glazers and Ineos going? Chelsea are secretly bankrolled by Saudi Arabia. Yeah, probably. A lot of them are, but they don't want to admit it. Of course, Capital has a lot of Saudi money. Chelsea are well funded compared to United. I agree, Almac. And what I like about Chelsea, right? And listen, it's the PSR and the FFP, the way they're doing things at the moment, in my opinion, is smart. It's smart. Well, the way we're doing things at the moment, we're using excuses. That's what we're doing to try and not spend money, of course. Qatar and Amran would be perfect. I agree, Darren. It would have been a match made in heaven. At the end of the day, I think, to be honest with you, Man United are a sleeping giant, at the end of the day, Man United could have an Nagelsmann, Man United could have Ruben Amorim, Man United could have anyone. I mean, if you've got Qatar back in with Man United, no debt, and Glazers out, we accumulate our own money organically ourselves. So we would start growing. You know what I mean? For Man United to be sustainable right now and to be still in the Europa League quarterfinals, you know what I mean, and still producing players and stuff like that, it goes to show you, if we had money, if we had no debt, we'll shoot right up that table. Unfortunately, Mr. Jim Ratcliffe, who is openly exposing himself as a non-Man United fan, in my opinion, wanted to save the Glazers, likes the Glazers, loves the Glazers. The way I heard it yesterday, loves the Glazers. He's such a nice guy, Joel Glazer. He's so kind. He's from the East Coast. And from the East Coast, New York, at the end of the day, look, I don't mind you not saying anything about the Glazers and not, exposing the Glazers, because I understand the game. I understand it's business, and I understand you can't slander people that you need. I know that. But for him to openly have a love fest with them, for me, it was disgusting. It made me sick, to be honest, in my stomach. I think Glinios are buying young players just to lower the standards for the next 5 years until the stadium is built. Ineos are the enemy of this football club and bedding in with the Glazers. Sharp, you know what? I can't argue with that. And to be honest with you, I'm the sort of guy who likes to weigh things up. As people know me on this stream, I'm not just absolute with hate or absolute with one direction. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I like to bring in things that I think they've done well. I think they're doing badly. What I would say, if I was weighing it up right now, if I was given an overall 1 year evaluation of what Ineos have done, it would be negative, because everything I'm hearing at the moment has been negative. Negative, negative, negative. Stadium, positive, wrong time. Man United need a good football team first, right? Stadium, we know that. Then you can argue that why are we building a new stadium? It's because the people you facilitated neglected Old Trafford. Our cultural heritage is Old Trafford. Who we are is Old Trafford. Qatar would probably rebuild Old Trafford on Old Trafford, right? So we probably would have kept Old Trafford. We wouldn't have to move, you know what I mean, and build this circus, whatever we're building. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. You know what I would say is that, you know, they're on fraud watch. They're definitely on fraud watch. Anyone who's overzealously supporting them and still showing ridiculous love for them, you know, it's just a sinister reason, in my opinion. I just feel like they have an agenda against certain people from certain areas of the world, and that is just the way it is. Unfortunately, you can't change that, because it was nothing to do with what Qatar, you know, and the way they are and stuff like that. I mean, when you look at the Middle East, the way the Middle East is building up, you know what I mean? I don't think anything wrong with Qatar. I don't think anything wrong with the UAE either. I mean, what they've done with Man City is incredible. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't think Man City are moaning. Do you see one Man City fan moaning? Do you see them moaning? Absolutely not. At the end of the day, who's moaning? Liverpool fans, American owners. Man United fans, American owners. They're the ones who are moaning, not the ones with the Arab owners. Newcastle fans are not moaning. They're not moaning at all. You know what I mean? Man City are not moaning at all. PSG are not moaning at all, who are owned by Qatar as well. They're not moaning, are they? Check out the people who are owned by Americans and you see what's happened there. You see the opposite or thing. The only one that I can look at and say that, yeah, he's all right, is Bowley. But then again, Bowley's doing things willy-nilly. Bowley's throwing money. As someone said earlier in the chat, Bowley's throwing money at something. He's throwing money at something. He's not actually got a know-how about how football works. But at least he's spending money. Baz, Chelsea has one eye on Amram. Why else would you want Sporting players on 7-year contract? Baz, goodness me. Can you imagine that happen? Can you imagine that happen? Can you imagine he walked into the Chelsea? No, I don't think so. I don't think he would do that, to be honest. I don't think Man United will allow it to happen. Quenda wants to play right wing. He doesn't want to play right wing back, and that's fair enough at the end of the day. But you know what? There's plenty more fish in the sea in regards to players around, especially right wing backs and stuff. There is plenty of more fish in the sea, of course, absolutely. Shah, do you see you winning a league those are the next 10 years? 10 years, Shah. Look, at the end of the day, I don't want to even think about in 10 years' time, if I'm being honest with you. I've waited long enough, 12 years now. And if someone told me in 2013 that Man United won't win the league for another 12 years and you'll be 14th, 15th in the league in 2025, I would have said, oh, no way, I would not take that at the end of the day. I think Man United should be aiming to win the league a lot sooner than that. And I think that if we had Qatar, if we had someone like that, we would have probably had more chance of winning the league. I wouldn't say it's an absolutely no, it won't happen. It can happen. Things can happen. Something might spark. It happened to Leicester City, of course. I do think that, you know what, I would be aiming more shorter term than that, because I'm not going to take 10 years. I don't think any Man United. If you told Real Madrid, you know what, you're going to, you're going to win the league. You're not going to win the league again only in 10 years' time. Would they take that? It wouldn't happen, would it? Qatar would have used their own money to build their stadium, refurbish Old Trafford, not regenerate the government. Absolutely. And trying to twist it with the media that taxpayers are not paying it. Of course, they're paying for it. The taxpayer pays for everything in England, for goodness sake. Of course, they're bloody paying for it, guys. You know what? They at the end of the day, Qatar would have been building already. There already would have been bulldozers there. There already would have been regeneration going on there already. You know what I mean? It would have been happening now. You know, players would have been left the club by now. Players' contracts would have been paid out. You know, people would still be working at the football club, you know, and things like that. The only thing is it's a butterfly effect, isn't it? It's the butterfly effect, the old famous butterfly effect that, you know what, maybe they wouldn't have appointed Ruben Amorim. Maybe they would have sacked Eric Ten Hag early. I don't know. That is one thing we don't know what would happen. It's all up in the air. But one thing's for certain, if you're weighing things up in regards to Ineos and in regards to Qatar, what gives you the most likelihood of success? What gives you the best chance of success? It's Qatar, isn't it? Own money, clear the debt, Glazers out, you know, at the end of the day. And what happens when you clear the debt? What happens when you clear the debt? What happens to PSR and FFP? It goes up, doesn't it? Because Man United make more money than anyone else. So our PSR and FFP will be going up again like that. And we'll have more power and we'll be powerful again. Unfortunately, we're trying to like strip down Man United to make us into some sort of poor football club who has no money and stuff like that. They got no money. And, you know, that is what they're like, you know, and you know, they're trying to strip down Man United and make excuses. Whereas Qatar would have re-established Man United as the richest club in the world, which we are, because our revenue supports that. You know, and if we cleared the debt, you know, and got rid of all those transfer fees that we owe, including Sancho and this and that, up to 500 million we owe on transfers, Man United's FFP and PSR would be absolutely immaculate, through the roof. Credit rating, you know what I mean? There you go. At the end of the day, we could have done everything, you know what I mean? But it didn't happen. Qatar also had plans like the takeover announcement day to get cleared by stadium play. Absolutely, they had the plan ready. It would have already been done. Sure, we have to wait 7-8 years for a new stadium when we would have had it. Look, guys, it would have been a couple of years. We would have done it. Trust me. You know what I mean? And you know what? They're just doing things. You know, my biggest fear is this, right, guys? My biggest fear is this. I keep having visions of the stadium half built or 3/4 built or a quarter built, whatever built, left there, derelict. You know when stadium things start, you know when development starts, right? And they run out of money. So the bulldozers remove, the workers leave and stuff like that, and they leave a big rubble there. That is how I feel is going to happen with Man United. That, you know what, we're going to be 2-3 years into the rebuilding process in regards to the stadium. And then in a few years' time, that, you know what, they're going to be, you know, they can't afford it. The funding is gone. And there's a big derelict mess at Old Trafford and Manchester. And we got no football ground to play in. I just got this feeling that something like that could happen. I really do. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I mean, yeah, they grabbed 2 sporting players. It's not just what we haven't won the league the last decade. We haven't been contenders. We haven't even been in the title race. Ratcliffe admires Levi and wants to turn us into Spurs. Exactly. Right now, it's unacceptable for Man United to be without a league title in 12 years, right? That is one thing, guys. 12 years without a league title. That is one thing. You can talk about that, number one. Now, for him to be turning around and say, well, you know what, it's going to take time. We don't want to hear about it's going to take time. You facilitate the Glazers. You slept with the Glazers, and that is on you. Man United need to be trying to challenge for league titles and major Champions League titles now. Not then. Not then. We don't want to hear about then in 10 years, in 5 years. You know, no. You know what I mean? Who knows what's going to happen in that time? My dream about the new stadium reminds me of Arsenal's Emirates Stadium. And exactly, Kenny, you know what? How successful were Arsenal at the Emirates, at Highbury, as they are at Emirates? They haven't won the league since they've been at Emirates, have they, Kenny? They haven't won the league since 2004, Arsenal. 21 years, guys. Arsenal Football Club, right, have not won the Premier League title. You know, that is incredible, you know, at the end of the day. And, you know, Man United are getting there. Man United now, it's 13 years? It's maybe 12 years since Man United haven't won the title, you know. And I remember what happened back then when we just got David Moyes in charge. I said, oh, well, we'll win the league again in a couple of years. And here we are 12 years later. The stadium right now, for me, is not a priority. Mate, what is priority right now? You can fix the academies, you can fix the training facilities, but you need to, most importantly, fix the team on the pitch. That is what needs to be done first and foremost. At the end of the day, football is about results. I don't care if we play on Hackney Marshes. I don't care. As long as we're winning football matches, that is what matters. I don't care if we have a shiny new stadium with a concert stage in the middle of the bloody outside Old Trafford or whatever, New Trafford, whatever it's going to be called. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, Priorities the wrong direction. Priorities the wrong direction. They should have spent all that money, all that effort, all that planning stuff on the team. But no, they're not interested. They're interested in real estate. They're interested in hotels. They're interested in businesses. You know, when you have a regeneration project, it's not just a stadium. It's the businesses that are around it that are going to purchase the spaces. You can have fast food chains. You can have restaurants. You can have hotels. You can have apartments, things like that. You know, cinemas, things like that are going to bring in money. You know, and you would own that. I lived in Leighton, right? And Leighton, I lived just behind me was a football stadium called Leighton Orient, and there was a guy called Barry Hearn. Barry Hearn is the dad of Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, of course, owns boxing in England. He owns Anthony Joshua and all that. Right, and Barry Hearn was a bit of a wally, right? He wasn't a great person. He didn't really care about Leighton and the community and stuff like that. He used to pretend he did, but he didn't, right? What he did, on every 4 corner of the stadium in Leighton, he built 4 apartments. So 1 on one side, 4. So every corner of the stadium, and it's still there, of the stadium at Leighton Orient, right? He built them into apartments, and he sold those apartments and rented those apartments out to try and make money. Right, he makes millions a year on these apartments, right? And this is basically what Ineos want to do. They want to have a regeneration project with loads of hotels, loads of apartments, billionaires from all around the world getting involved, buying apartments, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And that is what he wants to do. That is what he wants to do, as well as Old Trafford, of course, Old Trafford, whatever he's going to call it. I mean, I personally believe he's going to sell the naming rights for Old Trafford. He probably will sell the naming rights. It'll probably be the Amazon Stadium, or a bit like Barcelona, the Spotify Stadium, of course. There could be, I mean, he could do all that. He can make money like that. He could put a Nike tick on the seats, you know what I mean, to create a big fat Nike tick or Adidas logo and things like that to get more money. He could do a lot of things to make money. You know what I mean? And this is exactly what he wants at the end of the day. This was the whole plan from the beginning. Shah, if I'm correct, City's revenue is higher than United's. It is, mate. At the end of the day, look, City, they manipulate things. I live in Abu Dhabi, and there's not many Man City fans around, even though Abu Dhabi own Man City. Okay, so but at the end of the day, whether they're manipulating it or not, they're clever because they know what they're doing. They're clever. They're smart. You know, if they're trying to override PSR and FFP, they're doing the right thing. So are Chelsea, you know, and at the end of the day, I don't want to hear excuses, because if things can be manipulated, manipulate them then. You know what I mean? If they can be manipulated, manipulate them. It's simulation in a business world. You know, at the end of the day, if a footballer does the dark arts of football in regards to falling over or failing injury or diving, for example, on the pitch, you know, to get a penalty or whatever, that's called the dark arts of football. That's simulation. That's what that is at the end of the day. And that is what business owners need to do as well. They need to work out a way, the dark arts of business, and try and twist things. But it seems like Jim Ratcliffe does not want to do that. He just wants to use the excuse, I don't want to spend money. I want to take all the money out of the football club. And that's what I want to do. He just wants to fill his pockets up and build his regeneration project. And that's it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Probably pass it down to all his generations, you know? Is he married, by the way? Is Jim Ratcliffe married? Ratcliffe literally said that his people told him fans don't like whenever he speaks positively about the Glazers, and then he proceeds to talk about the Glazers. Why don't people talk positively about the Glazers, right? Let me tell you why. Man United came from adversity, from a working class man and woman, okay? In 1958, we lost our whole football team almost to the Munich air disaster, right? When we were during that time, it was a working class man and woman who built this football club back up to win the FA Cup 5 years later, to win the league 2 years after that, to win the European Cup and become the best team in Europe in 1968, right? We were relegated as well in 1974 and things like that. We've been through some adversity over the years, and we didn't win the league for 26 years, guys, right? At the end of the day, right? When the Glazers, Sir Alex Ferguson came in 1986 and made Man United the best team in the world, building Man United up, not only with money, but with building it with youth, you know, we worked hard to get where we were. We worked hard to become the richest club in the world, you know, the most successful. We became the best club in the world three times under Alex Ferguson, you know, and world champions, you know, a couple of times as well. And to be honest with you, like, for the Glazers to walk into the football club, right, over a horse that Sir Alex Ferguson, you know, obviously Sir Alex Ferguson had the argument about the horse. to get out a loan, right, to buy Man United. So they got out a loan to buy Man United and then put the loan on the club. Basically, so they've got this loan, they bought Man United, and they don't pay a penny back on that loan because they're using the profits from Man United to pay that loan off. And not only pay the loan off, not pay the interest only on that loan, right? So we've gone from 500 million, right, in debt in 2005 to 1.1 billion in debt in 2025. Because those Glazers, right, those Glazers, those Zionists, whatever you want to say, right, over there, right, have used this club as milking a cow, basically. That's what they're doing. So they'll take out their dividends, they'll pay themselves, they'll take out money out of the football club to service the debt. So whenever Man United get like, for example, get success, the money will go to the debt, the capital, not the capital, the interest, right? Now, when Man United need to rebuild the squad, when Man United need to rebuild the stadium, and they have left the stadium to rot, by the way, this is why we're moving away. When they've done that, they've taken out, remortgaged that loan and taken out more money from that loan to pay for transfers. Let's not forget that the Glazers themselves are multi-billionaires, right? Multi-billionaires, and they've not spent one penny on the football club. They've kept the football club in debt. Right? And they've done the same with Tampa Bay Buccaneers in America and all that, and American football as well. They've done that. Now, we had a chance to sell the football club to Qatar, right? We had the chance. And then, of course, people have been watching too many Disney cartoons, don't like Arabs and stuff like that. And then people are like, we don't want to stay owning this football club. We don't want that. But you want America to own. You want Americans to own a football club who are the single most problem in the world. You want them to own a football club, but you don't want Arabs to run the football club because they don't dress like you, they don't talk like you, they don't eat the same food as you, they don't have the same religion as you if you're religious. At the end of the day, right? You've done that. But they wanted to take the Glazers' debt, pay the Glazers' debt off, take all the debt of Man United, pay it all off, all gone, kaput, nothing, right? No debt, right? Build a new stadium with their own money, not the government money, with their own money, and the infrastructure around the stadium, create thousands of jobs. That added to the fact they were going to spend up to 5 billion buying the club in the first place. And then people weren't happy with it because Jim is Manc born and bred, Manchester born and bred. Jim is one of us. Jim has not been successful at a football club. He has no record of being successful at a football club. His record is motor racing and cycling. That is not football. At the end of the day, and when you ask someone who's supposed to be a supporter of Man United, and you ask them why did you buy the football club, and you say you don't know, then that goes to show you where his allegiance lie. Now we had this chance to sell the football club to Qatar, right? But Jim Ratcliffe came out with a 27% buyout. So basically, saving the Glazers, because the Glazers needed to sell, they couldn't afford it anymore. Right? It was getting on top of them. They were stripped down the club to everything they stripped down. So the Glazers thought, we need to sell this football club. Qatar came along, said, we're going to buy the full football club. Pay off all the debt, blah, blah, blah. But then Jim Ratcliffe came along and said, I'll buy it for 27%, won't pay off the debt, keep the debt there, but at least we'll give you $1 billion so you can carry on milking this club and you can carry on owning this club, just as long as I have 27% of the football club. It's a vanity project. And then he gets involved in the regeneration project, which is going to be paid by the taxpayer of England, the government money, the stadium, the things around it. And then how anyone could honestly support this, could support this guy who is not a Man United fan. And then he comes into Old Trafford, right? People who've been working at Man United for 20 years, 30 years, sacks them. On 30, 40 grand a year, they're on. The amount of people he sacked accumulates to about 30 million in a year, all right? Man United earned that in no time without debt. Man United earned that in no time. 30 million would earn that in a week. At the end of the day, Man United was so rich, we were like that without debt. It's ridiculous. Kenny, what do you think of Joe Black? Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to get into that. Absolutely. There is news about, I know it seems a bit crazy talking about transfers right now, but I want to talk about some names that Man United have been linked with. One of the names is Jan Oblak. Jan Oblak, of course, is a player for Atletico Madrid who Man United have been linked with many times in the past. Of course, when Man United are looking for a new goalkeeper, Jan Oblak was gaining the interest of Manchester United. He is 32 years old, but it is said that Manchester United are looking for an experienced goalkeeper to fill up the void that Onana is not filling up, of course, guys. So Man United are interested in Oblak. He is worth around 25 million euros at the moment, mainly because of his age, but he does represent a very, very good, big experience, of course, guys. Absolutely. Another player Man United looking at, and slightly unrealistic for me, but it's said that Man United want this player, desperately want this player, of course, but would use Anthony and Marcus Rashford as leeway for this deal. It is Athletic Bilbao's Nico Williams. Nico Williams, of course, a European champion with Spain, of course, would set us back around 70 million euros plus. But Man United are looking to offload Rashford and Anthony, and they may put that money into a player like Nico Williams. Now, how much truth is in this is up in the air at the moment. He is only 22 years old. Of course, one of the best prospects in world football, of course, guys. So that is obviously something to be excited about. But at the end of the day, what I'm doing to you guys, what I'm doing right now is I'm giving you the news. I'm giving you the news. You can take it with a bit of salt if you like. But that is what we are linked with at the moment, of course, guys. And that is something that, of course, going forward. Absolutely. Why would we got to get Champions League football, European football first? Absolutely. I wouldn't say he would join United. I saw the YouTube, the title. That's why. Absolutely. At the end of the day, who knows what can happen, Kenny? Man United need a new goalkeeper. He might want a new challenge. He's not winning anything at Atletico Madrid. He might want a new challenge. Atletico Madrid are not a big team like Man United level, of course. If Qatar had paid off the debt and gifted United a debt-free stadium, that would have permanently solved our financial problems. There would be no problems, mate. A debt-funded stadium isn't as powerful as a debt-free stadium. Absolutely. Ask Tottenham Hotspur, Almac. Ask Tottenham. Ask Arsenal. Arsenal have just recently stopped paying off their stadium as well, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. At the end of the day, Shah, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, this is the news. This is what I'm hearing from reliable sources that Man United are looking for an experienced goalkeeper. So Oblak fixed the bill. But whether he'll come or not, we don't know, of course. Absolutely. Bruno, our sole great finisher, and then Garnacho, Rasmus approach. At the end of the day, Rasmus' approach is proper, but he gets closed up fast. He needs to be intelligent and find free space and demand for the ball. Absolutely. And another thing, Shah, I don't talk crap. I don't just come on here and talk crap. I do speak to very, very well-known people, of course. Bless up and the sound in the chat. Big up, Rasta. How you doing? Absolutely. Big up. Alex Tam, Estonia striker. Yeah, decent goalkeeper. Big up, GK. Big up yourself. Rasta, the thing for me, Sal, is that if we get a new stadium, is it to the squad going to improve? Exactly, Rasta, exactly. Jonathan, what's going on? Why didn't Qatar buy the club then? Because, let me tell you, the deal for Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers, it works out to the regeneration project, which the Glazers are going to get involved with, which makes them earn about 10 billion, right? That's what happened. Now, that doesn't happen straight away. It happens, obviously, in 10 years, and the club is going to be worth double. The only reason that happened is because of Jim Ratcliffe. He gave them a chance to stay that longer. So if they stayed that longer, they were in line to make 10 billion, right? They were in line to make 10 billion rather than taking 5 billion from Qatar, for example. 2 billion going towards the debt and all that stuff. But that is what happened. He gave them a rope to hold on to, right? That is why Qatar couldn't buy the football club, because of Jim Ratcliffe came in and he said, right, here's the plan. I buy 27%. You stay at the club. We are in line to make this much money in 10 years. We're in line to have a regeneration project. We can make this much money. New stadium. We're going to get the government to pay it. Their eyes lighted up. Their eyes lighted up. Whereas if Jim Ratcliffe wasn't there, that's it. Sell the football club to Qatar. Whoever was going to buy the football club, of course. We need debt fee clearance. Also, Ratcliffe has no answer to it, of course. Yeah. I don't know if this is possible. Glazers take money from the club, pay interest. Why not pay off some of the debt early? Because they don't want to, Sharp. They don't want to pay it off. Absolutely. It's a race thing at the end of the day. Yeah. So Jim Ratcliffe has been lifelong Man United fan since 2024. Absolutely sharp. Spot on. Absolutely. Appreciate the new sale. Big up Rasta. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Seems like a lot of GK Prime is 30 year old. Is also a bit cheap. Could work out. It's also risky at the point. Anything better than Nana. SLD, anything's better than Nana. Absolutely agree. At the end of the day, guys. Best keeper in the world is currently playing in Austria. There you go. Is it VTech, Jonah Tech? Big up Sal and the chat. Big up Darko. Hope you're doing well. Big up everyone. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. That is me. Thank you, everyone. Guys, I won't be here for Chatterbox later, but I will be back for the watch-along tonight between Manchester United and Leicester City. Of course, 11 p.m. for me. I'll be live at 7:30 p.m. UK time, guys. UK time, 7:30 p.m., 10:30 p.m. in the Middle East if you are here. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Have a fabulous day. Don't stress out too much. Hopefully, we get what we want in the end. The cream always rises to the top, doesn't it? Have a great day, morning, night, wherever you are in the world. You're absolute legends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video. If you kindly can do that for me, that'd be brilliant. I'm Sal Warner. This is Breaking Dawn. Take it easy. See you later, guys. Up the Reds. Let's go. Peace.